Hi class. Okay, so today we're going to play the role of word detectives and inventors. And you can see our objective is to determine the meaning of a word using context clues. So today we're going to learn about context clues. And first I'm going to go ahead and define the word context because I think that'll really help you. So make sure you get your pen and papers and write it down in case you ever need to look back, okay? Okay, so the definition of context: the parts of a written or spoken statement that precede a specific word or phrase, usually influencing its meaning or effect. And the key words here are going to be precede, and then precede or follow. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I forgot one of the most important words. Okay, so the key words, one of which I forgot, are precede and follow. And the reason why those are important is because, I'm going to erase this. Are you guys done? Okay. All right. The reason why those are important is because, let's say, here is your unknown word. Okay, you're reading a paragraph, you come across the word, you don't know the definition of it, so you're going to use context clues to determine the meaning. So there's a sentence here, there's a sentence here. So when we're using our context clues, we're going to look at the sentence before, and we're going to look at the sentence itself that contains the unknown, and then we're also going to look at the sentence that comes after. Okay, and so that's basically what we're going to use. You can also use surrounding sentences, of course, but this is the key component that we want to look at, okay? All right, and for an example, I'm going to use one of your vocabulary words. I want you guys to write it down, otherwise you're going to have to look it up and define it later anyway. So, Okay guys, so here's our example. The baby lion cub was removed to the zoo hospital because it was undernourished, which is going to be our unknown word, and unable to compete for food. Okay, so our context clues, this is the only sentence we have, so of course we're going to look within this sentence for the clues. We can say the baby lion was removed to the zoo hospital, so we're going to use this as a clue. Obviously, it was removed to the hospital because it was undernourished, so the undernourished would probably mean something that would put you in the hospital, so maybe ill or sick, but let's continue to look. It was removed to the hospital because it was undernourished and unable to compete for food. And this is going to be the rest of our clues. This is going to be the rest of our clue that we want to look at. So the baby lion was removed to the hospital because it was undernourished. So it went to the hospital because it was undernourished and unable to compete for food. So we can say it went to the hospital because it was unable to compete for food. Therefore, it was unhealthy, it was sick, it was undernourished. So that's how you're going to use context clues to try to determine the meaning of a word. And I'm going to go ahead and write the definition of undernourished on the board so we can compare and contrast our definition we just got. Okay, so our definition of undernourished, not nourished with sufficient or proper food to maintain or promote health or normal growth. So we were pretty much spot on using our context clues. And I highlighted nourished because you guys know that I don't like you to define words with a similar word in it. Nourished is already right here, or nourished, so I don't like that, even though I used it in my example. But I wanted to use it because if an individual did not know what nourished meant, we could use context clues even in this definition to determine the meaning of nourished and to help us even further determine the meaning of undernourished. So we want to say undernourished is not nourished. So if we didn't know this word, we could take it out and then say undernourished is not having sufficient or proper food to maintain or promote health or normal growth. So we can assume that nourished would be the opposite. We can also use this. Nourished would be the opposite, and therefore it would mean with sufficient or proper food to maintain or promote health or normal growth. So does that make sense? Nourished would be the opposite, therefore it would be having proper nutrition. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and write another example on the board. It's another vocabulary word, guys. Okay, guys. Our second example, the conscientious doctor was very thorough when reviewing the patient's PET scan, careful not to miss signs of cancer. And so we have two words in here that we want to know the meaning of. We want to determine the meaning of these two words using our context clues within this sentence, okay? The conscientious doctor was very thorough. So the doctor is conscientious and he is thorough, okay? When reviewing the patient's PET scan, careful, so the doctor is conscientious, he's thorough, and he's careful not to miss signs of cancer. Okay, so we can kind of conclude that conscientious, based on the words thorough and careful, that would mean about the same thing, that he's very thorough, he won't miss a thing, he's just very adamant and checks everything, okay? And then our other word that I have over here, PET scan, what if you were reading this and you may not know what PET scan is? So we're going to use context clues to decide what that means. And so the conscientious doctor, so here's going to be a context clue, was very thorough when reviewing. So the doctor was reviewing the scan. So it's obviously something that you need medical care. It occurs in a medical atmosphere. You need a doctor for it. So the conscientious doctor was very thorough when reviewing the patient. Here's another one. PET scan, careful not to miss signs of cancer. So this is our key one, our key clue for determining the meaning of PET scan. It's obviously a scan that would help you to determine if you have cancer, or it would scan you to check your body for abnormal things. So that's our second example using context clues. And I'm going to go ahead and write the definition of conscientious on the board so we can compare our definitions again. Okay, so our definition of conscientious is careful and painstaking, particular, meticulous. And then if you didn't know the definition of meticulous, you can use your context clues by looking at the other synonyms, and you can gather that means the same thing. It's a synonym. So there's our definition. I'll give you guys a second to write it down. Okay. Okay, guys, most of you guys probably recognize this word from the movie Mary Poppins, which I love very much. Anyway, why did I write this on the board? Okay, So our next assignment I'm very excited about. We are going to be word inventors and word detectives, and we are going to invent our own word, very much like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So we're going to invent our own words. I want you to use your word in a paragraph, 3 sentences minimum. And the reason why you have to write a paragraph is to help provide context clues for your classmates, because your classmates are going to be the detectives and they're going to try to define your invented words. So be really creative. You can be crazy. Make sure you're appropriate. Whenever you're done writing your paragraph with your unknown word or your invented word, come turn it in to me, and you have 10 minutes to do that. Okay? Then after that, I'm going to pass out your paragraphs, and you're each going to get a new word, not the one you invented, of course, and you're going to have 5 minutes to read through the context clues that were provided to you and try to define that invented word. And whenever you're done, we're going to take turns standing up and reading our new words and our definitions out loud, and hopefully we'll all be spot on based on our context clues. So anyway, good luck. I can't wait to see what you guys have. Just a little heads up, after this, you guys are going to use that handout that you grabbed when you walked in the door with your vocabulary words, and you're going to go ahead and define those, okay? If you have time left over. If you don't feel like defining them and you want to read some of your book and catch up on your reading, our night, which I'm very excited about, you can go ahead and catch up on that and define your words at home for homework. But just know that I expect you to come to class tomorrow with your reading assignment completed and your vocabulary words defined, because we're going to do something with them, okay? All right, good luck.